Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Skeeter H again, or Skeeter Howard, whichever one you want to call me. It's the name I use on Ancestry.com. I'm here today to talk about Freedman Bank records. I want to read you the history of the Freedman Bank records, and then I'm going to tell you why they're important to African American research. The Freedman Savings and Trust Company was incorporated in 1865 by an act signed by President Abraham Lincoln. The purpose of the company was to create an institution where former slaves and their dependents could place and save their money. The original bank was first headquartered in New York and later moved to Washington, D.C. Shortly thereafter, branch offices opened in other cities, primarily in ones in the South where there was a larger population of African Americans. Eventually, there were 37 branch offices in 17 states with approximately 70,000 depositors over the branch lifetime and deposits of more than $57 million. In 1874, as a result of mismanagement, fraud, and other events and situations, Freedman Bank closed. 29 of the 37 branches of the bank had records that have survived and been digitized. The registers of signatures of depositors collections contains forms required by the bank for each individual making a deposit to fill out. These forms ask questions regarding personal information and identification, as well as required a signature. The exact questions asked on each form varied between years and branches. The information contained in many of the registers is as follows: account number, name of depositors, date of entry, place born, place brought up, residence, age, complexion, name of employer or occupation, wife or husband, children, father, mother, brothers and sisters, remarks, and signature. The early books sometimes also contain the name of the former master or mistress and the name of the plantation. In many entries, not all the requested data are given. This is from the New York Public Library. Okay, those criteria at the bottom are what we need for our African American research or Black history research, whichever one you want to call it. So again, as always, I'm going to share my screen. What I'm showing you is my Ancestry.com family history page, 30-something years of my work of what I found, and a lot of it had to do with Freedman Bank, because the further back you go, I'll tell a little quick story. When I attended the family reunions, they always told the same story, how there was two brothers, one lived across the street from the other, and those two brothers had the land and property, and our families came from those two brothers, because that's as far as we went back on our family tree. Now, I want y'all to know that my computer blinks off and on. I live in the dead zone, so I'm sorry. I apologize now for that. But as far as my family knew, those two brothers, which were Henry Atkinson and Spencer Turner, were the only two names they knew. Well, as I came to research and found out about the Freedman Bank records, those two brothers actually had an account with Freedman Bank along with another brother, and they gave us more information. So I want to share my screen and show you what information they gave to us. And there's also a family member, a friend, who is the pastor at the church next door, who also had a Freedman Bank record, and I want to show you his because his information is quite interesting. So this is grandmother Priscilla. Now, as I was telling you early, we didn't know about her. No one knew anything about the two boys, Henry and Spencer's mom. So on this bank record is one of the brothers, James. James apparently took the last name Jenkins. He changed his name to Jenkins. Remember, only 5% of slaves kept their slave's name. So, and I really probably shouldn't have started with James, but we're going to start with James. James was one of the children that came with Priscilla. Here we are, James Jenkins. Here's James, and he's saying that his date is August 24th. James is not a really good one because some of the information is missing, and the clerk who took his information wasn't very neat with her handwriting. So as you can see, so James says August 24th, no date here, but the Freedman Bank only opened from 1865 to 1874. So we know it was probably 1874 or 72, somewhere along in there, because the guy next to him is 72. So it says, where born, Virginia, where brought up, Georgia. It says residence, rolling mill near. The person didn't finish the information. It took me years to find that this is Rolling Mills near Atlanta, and it was actually the place where they made the cannons for the Civil War. His age is about 50. His complexion is brown. He is a laborer. He works for his blank. Husband or wife is blank, but he has lots of children. Henry, Jenkins, Roger, Spencer, Priscilla. I'm not sure what that's saying. Hickson, James, Walton, Edward, Ida, William Eatonton, Jerry, Leroy, look like Laney. He says his father is Squire Walton or Squire Wayton. His mother is Priscilla Atkinson. She's dead, he has here. Brothers and sisters are Jerry Spencer Turner, Henry Atkinson, Harriet Jones, Melinda Atkinson. There's that Spencer Turner. That is my great-great-great-great-grandfather. So, and remember the story from the reunion was Spencer and Henry. These were the only two brothers that they knew of in our reunion. But as we see, there's a Jerry, and there's also a Harriet Jones, and there's a Melinda. So from the Freedman Bank records, I gained the rest of the family, and I know that there's a Priscilla Atkinson. We also knew that our family came from the Atkinson plantation. So let's go back and look at the next Freedman Bank record, because the Freedman Bank records were the only way I was able to prove who Priscilla was. So here, the next one it's not going to open because my computer is in a dead zone and it's having issues. Here we are. That look like my grandfather right there. And that's him. So Grandpa Spencer, his date is August the 19th, 1872. He is in Toliver County, and if you've seen any of my other videos, you know that even though we pronounce it Toliver, it is spelled Taliaferro, like Taliaferro, but we do pronounce it Toliver. So the person, and he applied for he deposited his money in the Augusta office. The gentleman before, James, deposited his money in the Atlanta office. That's where he was working. So his brother Spencer is at the Augusta office on August the 19th, 1872. He says he was born in Toliver County because these people do not have a clue the right spelling for this. And as you see, my grandfather left his mark. He could not read or write, so he couldn't tell them. Now he says he resides at Widow Atkinson Place. Remember, the slave owner for us is Umstead Atkinson. He says it's 70 miles from here. So we know from that the place he opened his account was 70 miles from where he was living. He was residing on that plantation. This is after emancipation, so he's a free man, but he still lives on the Widow Atkinson Place. His age is 46. His complexion is black. His occupation is farming, and he rents the land. He lived with his wife, Mary. He says he has children, Henry and Martha. He says Henry and Martha are twins. That's what that is right there. Then his other children are Sarah, John, Jacob, Melinda, and baby Spencer. He says his father is Jack, who's deceased. His mother is Lilla, who is deceased. And his siblings are Henry, Melinda, J. Jenkins, Harriet, Jerry, Sarah, who's deceased, Margaret, deceased, and Emily, deceased. J. Jenkins, we just finished listening to his. That is James. But listen to this cute little note right here at the bottom. His remarks. Mother bought from Virginia with 3 children. That explains why James Jenkins said he was brought up in Virginia. Because his mother was purchased from Virginia. She was bought from Virginia with 3 children. And he also adds that his post office is Crawfordville, Georgia, and his name is Spencer Turner, and this is his mark. So we know from this was a great find to me. I was so excited when I found this record, because this is my grandfather speaking to me, and he is saying, these are your people. This is my brother Henry and Melinda, Harriet and Jerry and Sarah and Margaret and Emily are deceased, but these are my parents, Jack and Scylla. And so it was so exciting when I found this. And then next, well, it may not have been ordered, may have been some time later, I was able to find Henry's. Remember, Henry is still using the plantation name of Atkinson. So I was able to find Henry, and hopefully it'll open for us, because Henry is going to concur what the other ones are saying. And I always love to find at least 3 witnesses for whatever I'm doing, because the more people I find that say the same thing lets me know I'm in the right place. These are the right people. And here is Henry. And I was so grateful that the clerk who took Henry information was such a neat writer. So he says, he opened his up in Augusta also on December the 31st, 1873. He says, I was born in Taliaferro. There's that spelling again, because nobody knows how to spell that Taliaferro. They don't know it's pronounced Taliaferro. Taliaferro County, Georgia, 6th District. Where brought up, ditto, same place. Reside, ditto. Age 42. He is younger than my grandfather, Spencer. Complexion is black. Occupation, farming. Husband or wife of husband, they got Esther, but we always say Easter. The children are George, Martha, Henry, Johnny, Sarah, Charlie, Amy deceased, Caroline deceased. And therefore, father says Jack, same man as my grandfather. Mother is Priscilla. There's her true name. She's also deceased. That let me know these were 2 full-blooded brothers, not half, not plantation brothers. Their complexion is black. They are 2 full-blooded brothers. So he says his brothers and sisters are, there they are, James, Jerry, Spencer, Sarah, Margaret, Melinda, Emily, and Harriet. Boom. Same exact people that grandfather Spencer said. Only difference was on James, because James had a different father. And so James also only listed the kids that was alive. He didn't list any other siblings that were deceased. And again, we know that Henry cannot read or write because there is his mark. And there is a little note that says cannot. I don't know why she thought it was necessary to write that, but that's what he says. So Freedman Bank records are so vital to us because of the information that they carry. And the next one I want to show you, because I'm not going to make this too long. I just want you to know to look to see if they have a Freedman Bank record, because that information is so vitally important. I want to find for you now a person named Derry Merton. He was the pastor of Springfield Baptist Church for 30 plus years. He was pastor for 30 plus years. He was known to have come here. He actually he was the first pastor at the church that started in 1865. Him and his first marriage, he actually left a biography. In his first marriage, he jumped a broom. He tells about that. And then his second marriage, Then he also went back to the courthouse and got married later. But I want to find his Freedman Bank record. His Freedman Bank record is awesome. Freedman Bank records also told you if they had scars. One of the reports I said the man was missing his fingers. Fingers on the left hand, I think it said they was missing his fingers. Some of them told you if he had a limp or if he had one eye, but they told you information like that. But listen to what Derry Merton says. Derry Merton married into my family, but his daughter married into my family, but he himself is not a direct descendant. But I love his Freedman Bank record. Here, he's opened his account February of 1872. Derry Merton. The date is November 25th, 1870. His number is 2172. He was born in Warren County, Georgia. He's brought up in Tolliver, there it is, that spelling, County, Georgia. He resides in Tolliver County, Georgia. His age is about 45. His complexion is black. He says his occupation is farmer and minister. Pretty much a lot of the folks who's married here has his name on, has his mark as minister. Works for rent land from John Dickinson. John Dickinson was one of the married one of the Umstead Atkinson's daughter. So he rents his land from Dickinson. He's a wife or husband to Sally. Sally lived with Derry. That they're not separate. They live in the same house together. His children are Henry Clay, Sally Ann, George Reason, Ananias. Ananias, by the way, is a boy. He's going to become a pastor. Anna, Mary is deceased, Jerry is deceased, and Derry is deceased. His father is Davy, and his mother is Charlotte, who lived with his brother Henry. He says his sisters and brother Henry is 4 miles from here in Warrenton, and then Derry. And here's the note that I love. He says Sam and Charles went off with Sherman's army. That must have been really important to him to say that, to know that his he don't know what happened to them, probably because they probably haven't come back, but he's letting them know that they went off with Sherman's army. And so if it seemed like they were sending out little messages, so if their family ever saw this, they would know, okay, we're looking for you, or we miss you, or we know who you are. And he actually signs his name on here. He tries to sign his name on here. So Freedman Bank records, do not bypass looking for Freedman Bank records. Ancestry.com has them. We used to buy the disc with them on there, but they are vital to Black history research, because just like my family, you can find out so much information about the siblings and the parents that were alive, or that was here, or that belonged to the family back in 1870. So do not, I say again, do not miss looking for the Freedman Bank records. You may be lucky enough to find somebody there, or a neighbor, or someone in your family, or somebody in your community. Again, I want to tell you, start your family search by talking to your family. Interview your family first. Make sure you write good notes, good research notes, and nothing else like good research notes. I got to hit here. Take good research notes. Record your family if you can. Interview people who you may live nearby that knew your family, if in case you are adopted, or you were your family is no longer around. But interview as many people in your family that you can. Take good notes. And again, happy hunting. I'll see you on the next video. Let me know how you like this, or if you like it at all. So, love you. Have a great day. Turn off the record.